many hours evaluating what the addition of the tax base would do to property owners. It is a difference, an increase in the assessed value. It does not equate to an increase in taxes. And he was on the phone many instances with individual citizens explaining that, using the tool that's been placed on the assessor, by the assessor for, you can go and look at your tax history, and the treasurer, thank you, Treasurer Lloyd also. So again, it represents a tandem effort where we are making every effort to provide transparency and look at what's happening in local government. I have been a part of many budget processes. This is the most collaborative. It is the most transparent. It is the most thorough and welcoming and professional, and just there's a lot of things I could say from where I've been to where we're at today. I'm glad the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. There's a very bright future for Canyon County because of the leadership structure and the quality employees that are in place. Unsung hero, I want to shout out to Sarah Winslow, who has been just really an unsung hero, very quiet and soft-tempered, but just pulls hard for the county. Thank you. And Steve and Kyle and everybody. I want to say, too, that it is a privilege to work beside Brad Holton and Zach Brooks. I can't say enough about this team and what we're doing in local government, and I hope that the citizens recognize and appreciate. I also want to say that I had a desire for a number of years. Aaron Williams is here somewhere, and Chad Thompson. It was my goal to have a bigger footprint on social media. They do a wonderful job highlighting what's going right in Canyon County, and we've been able to cross over and interface with other offices in the county, and they are welcomed in those offices because of the great job that they do highlighting quality employees for Canyon County. Thank you for your service. For our law enforcement, for everybody that's here, there's too many people to thank and too many good people in the room, and a lot of them are not here, but Tracy Lloyd, thank you for your service. We appreciate you, and I hope that you have as much fun in retirement as you did here at the county. Yeah, so. Chairman, I'm sure I've missed somebody or something, but those are my comments. I can support this budget because, as Commissioner Brooks has indicated, we have made painstaking effort. The public is also always welcome to come and participate and watch what happens. We've had, with the exception of Jody Arnold and Steve Burton, very little interaction with the public on that, although our Public Information Office did always make those opportunities available on social media, and they're listed on the Commissioner's agenda. So good things ahead, and this will be a great year coming up for fiscal year 25. There are a lot of things that can get done when you work together, and that's what's happening in Canyon County.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody that showed up. Commissioner Brooks and I, because I'm still an active mayor, we are members of the Treasure Valley Partnership, which is all of the elected officials of Ada County and Canyon County, and also the mayor of Emmett, the mayor of Mountain Home, and Owyhee County. You tonight are an anomaly. So in that group, we are the last budget hearing of that group. This date, everybody's already done it before us. That represents in excess of 450,000 people, and out of all of those entities, only 5 people showed up. So you are a significant anomaly, and it's a good thing that we're participating together, trying to find out what the best is for Canyon County. When I started into this in 2020, there was around just over 96,000 lots, taxable lots. Today there's in excess of 106,000 taxable lots. That difference is most all residential. There are some commercial, there are some agricultural divisions, but the lion's share of that is houses, duplexes, multifamily apartments. And so we are growing, And a county has a lot of mandated services. We provide the jail building, we provide the room for the courts, we provide a lot of stuff that costs us as taxpayers money. And as we grow, that gets to be very difficult. I am very pleased to say that even with the growth, our budget basically increased just in excess of $400,000. In the millions of dollars we deal with, $400,000 is a lot of money, but it's chump change in the money that we deal with. So that only came about with a lot of work from everybody. And there were a lot of concessions. We started off with 23 possible new employees and whittled and whittled and whittled it down. Can we keep this up? We can try. There's this thing that you use in waste treatment, and the saying is dilution is the solution. And so how we're able to do some of this is that growth of people is a bigger number divisible in our budget. And if we can keep our budget very close to what it was last year, and we still are continuing with the growth, there's more people that have to help pay the budget, which means your personal property taxes should go down. Taxes are extremely complicated. We are one line for county. We are a second line for the ambulance district. All the other lines on your property taxes, I can't control. That's a separate political subdivision, and they make their choices. All of those phone numbers in their meetings are given to you. If you can go meet at their meeting, that's just like this, if you have concern. So I commend us that we are participating in local government, and we're keeping an eye on things. That's a good thing. So with that, I too am totally in favor with this. In all budgets, there's good things and there's bad things, and I had to make concessions on things that I wanted because it just wasn't going to be, there wasn't enough to go around. So I would say to the board that we need to, if there isn't any further discussion, let's consider if we're in a position that we want to consider approving.
Chairman,
Yes.
before we move on, there is a line item here on the public agenda, just to touch on that. Clerk Hogaboom did, but on the new positions, sometimes there's criticism that we grow local government. I think we've done a good job stating that with the growth in the county, those services aren't provided without people growing with it. Mr. Burton has pointed out that out of the 13 and a half that made the cut, 3 of those are for the sheriff's office. They patrol 604 square miles in Canyon County and are ultimately the law enforcement presence that oversees all of that and mans the jail. We added a position for safety in our parks because we have a wonderful parks director, and that is heavily used. There's a position that will pay for itself in there. With population comes people that die. The coroner's request has been on that budget for a couple of years at least, so it's a repeat. Just a lot of things in there, and to the ambulance district's point, the board did what he did. We unfunded some positions in order to make room for critically funded, critical needed, but they're all critical. We're just trying to meet the demand for service in Canyon County. So that's a brief overview, but I thought it was worth mentioning.
Our public informations officer is working on the budget book. It's what, in excess of 200 pages now? Yes. Yeah, 215. See, it's grown 15 pages since I last checked in. And so it's going to, it will give you the resources to follow the narrative from the submitted, suggested, and through the process. It also gives you the narrative of what the directors and the elected officials came before the board, and they gave their sales job to us and what they were, and that's their job. They're the director or they're the elected official over that area, and that's their task, and they need to look out for what's best and come to the board and advise us. The long term is you need X, Y, Z. can we afford X, Y, Z? Well, we might only afford X, but let's look at Y, Z in 2 years, and how are we gonna fund that? So, it's quite an operation, and you could, that booklet will be available, it'll be shown on the web when it's available, and, that would give you a ton of background information within one concise document, rather than trying to go through the agenda and look at them day by day by day. So it'll be helpful.
Chairman Kimball, I also mentioned that we have 3 major capital projects that are on the docket. The board was creative and did its research, and those will be ARPA funded, which is not direct taxpayer dollars. So the warehouse is finished. That's a $56,000 a year savings where we don't pay it in lease, we own it, and we had the ground. There's an elections building. I don't know if the clerk wants to speak about what he needs and what he's done. He did an amazing, he is to be commended for what he did during this elections process in securing the confidence of voters. It was a tremendous lift, and you did an awesome job. So you're gonna quadruple your space, I think, is what's happening, and that will serve as a general voting location during elections. It'll be a training ground. It'll be a lot of things with parking. It's very limited here now, so I don't know if you wanted to make any additional comment.
The assessor is giving me this sign.
I just wanted to. Yeah.
Yes, no, respectfully, thank you, Chairman, Commissioner Van Beek. You know, in the interest of really focusing on the budget tonight, there's a lot, and I think you mentioned there's lots of meetings, and by not highlighting everything, there's no intended disrespect. There's just so much content in a multi-million-dollar budget, and but yeah, I'm you know, we're excited. The elections building, Haley's here. She's done a great job. I also do want to note that Jess Uresti, who's our court supervisor, has been named as my senior deputy when I took office, and solidifying that role. Jess is in the back of the room. He's standing. I told him to do crowd control, just to keep an eye on things. Hopefully you weren't the one telling everyone to sign up, though. Okay, sorry. Okay, so that was Aaron. Sorry, but one of the positions that was defunded was you know, a full-time chief deputy, and if the role evolves into that, you know, I think my team and Jess were, you know, the Canyon County ways to try to be lean and work hard and do more with less. I mean that respectfully, because I know some employees are like, we already are, we're drowning, and sometimes it could feel that way, but, you know, innovation and hard work. I mean, the type of community that we serve is a blue-collar, working-class community, and you know, I just, it's great working with dedicated public service, but the elections building is gonna do a great job in enhancing public trust. I was just at a meeting today with the Secretary of State and some other clerks, and you know, there's a lot of opportunities when we have that building. I hope to host field trips from the local high schools. Civic groups would be big enough to actually host civic groups to come in and bring a group of 25, 30 to sit down and do demonstrations. It's just really important that the public trusts, you know, elections. And I do want to thank this board. I got to inherit a budget in '24 when I came in as clerk, where you were funding, you know, some needed enhancements in the elections budget. We were able to add more locations because that's something you're willing to fund. Another thing that's in this budget is a slight modest increase in the poll workers, because the poll workers put in a lot of time. So in the November election, we're going to give them a slight bump in pay. We want to be able to recruit competent poll workers. You know, 400 plus poll workers we need to recruit for election day. So it's so important. This is why Brian Stender told me not to talk. I'll just.
I do.
But do thank you, and yeah, there's so much that we can, you know, highlight. I see Diana Sinner in the room, and I think that, you know, she does an amazing job with the fair. There's so many amazing people in the room that just do an amazing job, you know, in dedication to the people that we serve. Yeah. And thank you for the opportunity to share more than what you were prompting me to share.
No, that's. I do want to say too that the board had a vested interest in election integrity, and the clerk brought forward a cost-saving measure to implement print-on-demand ballots at more locations. That will be, it's just a different pair of glasses that looked at it differently and said, hey, there's a significant savings that is a positive response to the request for securing elections and doing a paper ballot. So the clerk, again, to be commended on that. The last capital project that is very significant is the new Sheriff's Administration building. I think they're doing everything in the very condensed sardine-like space that they have. They converted showers into interrogation rooms. It's unbelievable what our facilities team, Rick Britton, you deserve a shout out. You are an amazing director that's assumed an entire department under yours with a seamless transition. His team does a great job for Canyon County and has remodeled that area a number of times, but a new Sheriff's Administration building is planned on the corner of Albany and 11th. That will be a great addition and increase the space that's needed for the growth that we're experiencing in the county. So again, if you can't hear the excitement and positivity, we're issuing pom-poms to the sheriff's office because they're pretty happy with what's happening here as well. So.
Okay. So is there any more discussion, or can we work towards considering approval of the fiscal 2025 budget as presented, as tentative?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure on the public record that I'm totally on board with the new positions being available February 3rd. That's the first working day of February, but there is one position in the prosecuting attorney's office, the senior chief deputy, that is a new position that needs to be available January 6th.
Chairman,
Yes.
I hear that need, and the board is looking forward to Prosecutor-elect Boyd assuming that role. I think he will be a very good addition. He works closely and well with the Idaho Attorney General. He'll work well with this board. I'm in favor of what Commissioner Brooks has proposed.
I'd make that a part and parcel of your motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm staring at a bunch of paper, and normally this is all spelled out for us as far as
They're printed here before you.
the,
So you
no,
can.
I have all of them, but, I mean, it's, normally you have like a resolution number to actually read off.
Yeah,
So I don't
they
know.
aren't gonna give them a resolution number until you approve them, so.
You have a suggestion how we should rattle all these off?
Do you have it listed on your agenda with all that?
The agenda just has.
Signing resolutions.
Yeah, it just has a resolution.
And Chairman,
Yeah.
it would just be, the motion would be to approve the fiscal year 2025 budget. Is that correct, as presented?
Yes.
Yes, so that's my motion, Chairman, that the board approves the fiscal year 2025 budget as presented.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes?
would you be amenable to amending your motion to making sure the PA position is
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes.
available on January 6th?
Yes, we'll include the addition or the hiring of the position for the prosecutor's office, as you've indicated.
January 6th. Okay.
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay. So motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimous. So, we need to consider the other, two items of business there. One is the elected officials, call out, and then the second one would be, the foregone, and then the other one would be the authorization and signature of the L2 property tax forms.
So, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve of this resolution that spells out the 2025 expenditure budget for Canyon County in the amount of $156,462,033. It also includes Canyon County Pest Control District in the amount of $317,778, and the expenditure budget for the Melba Gopher District in the amount of $12,000. And then it has each of the 7 elected office positions, and their salaries.
Chairman, I'll second that budget or that motion, and with discussion on the clerk, that 156 million, Clerk Hogaboom, is inclusive, as you've indicated, of the ARPA funds for
Correct.
that. And so I wanted to draw attention to that again, because that there's a misunderstanding by the public that we raised the budget from 127 million to 56 million. It's money receipted in and accounted for so that we can spend that on the identified projects that I took time to go over. So let it be clear in this meeting that we have not raised the budget to 156 million. It is an accounting practice where we have to book the revenue to spend the money for the projects. So, but the budget is flat, and thank you for allowing me to make comments. My second stands.
Okay, so I'm lost.
I made the motion.
You're agreeing with that?
Yes.
And you don't need any amendment to the motion?
Not that I know of, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
all right. So motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, motion carries. All right, and there should be a separate motion for the foregone authorization and then the authorization for the signatures of the L2s.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the resolution concerning $712 of foregone for the Melville Gopher District and $13,769 of foregone for Canyon County Pest Control.
I will second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimous. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the resolution for the Canyon County fiscal year 2025 property tax levy of $58,864,985, which includes $591,748 of available property tax foregone increase for ongoing maintenance and operation.
I will second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimous. And then there will be three of those. You can put them all in the same motion if you care to.
Okay.
They're at the very top. They're there too.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve and sign the L2 worksheets for Canyon County Pest Control, and Melville Gopher.
I will second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimous. All right. I am not aware of anything else. Auditing team, clerk, yes?
Chairman, Commissioner. Yeah, thanks for approving the budget. I do just want to remind on the record that we did budget for maybe the first time in a long time, I can't say never, a reserve contingency under current expense. And those are monies that can be applied over the course of the fiscal year for unanticipated emergent needs that arise over the fiscal year. So I appreciate your funding a reserve line in the budget because that's helpful. And I did want to, just call that out, that as the fiscal year, if needs arise over the course of the fiscal year, it would take statutorily all three commissioners to be unanimous in how to apply part of that reserve fund. But it's included in the budget capacity that you've approved in this budget, but you still need to separately and unanimously appropriate how those reserve funds get applied. So I just thought that would be interesting to note on the record. We also did budget revenue, and I think Chairman, you kind of pushed us to do some fact finding on this, and the tax commission did clarify that there was a code that basically the occupancy tax, essentially the prorated first time tax that you assess if you were to build a home today, for example, you don't get tax free your first year. You're going to get a tax bill. Sometimes we don't call it a tax bill, but it's a bill to pay because you don't live for free in that home. And we collect those revenues, but they were not in our budget previously, we were treating that as unanticipated revenue, so we did budget a very modest amount of $500,000 to be distributed again over all the levied funds of that occupancy tax. And so, I appreciate those changes to our budget this year. And next year, we'll probably refine some more to, just try to fine tune all those little details. But yeah, thank you.
You bet. All right. Anything else? All right. If there isn't anything else that we're aware of that we need to take care of.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
I have a second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, you stand adjourned. Thank you.
Just
It's his fault.